For the past couple of days, Bitcoin has had a mixed reaction to the market. Right now, we can see that we are basically flat on the day, only up 0.5%. Now, for the last 7 days, we're up over almost 13%. So that's also up compared to the last week. Ethereum only up 7.5% in that same time period. And in today's video, I want to go ahead and cover some of the most important metrics that I've found so far, including a huge options expiry that's going to be happening on Friday and the potential impact that we can see that on the Bitcoin market, and then also what's going on this week that could potentially impact Bitcoin and crypto prices. Hello there, I'm Cody, and I'm so glad you guys joined me. And we're going to go ahead and just take a look at our Bitcoin chart TA first here. Now you can see in the past couple of days, we haven't really gotten much action. It's kind of been moving sideways. It really hasn't broken out. We saw a big wick here to the upside. We had a new yearly high, and then followed by it retreating after that point and then coming down. Now this is normal behavior for Bitcoin because Bitcoin had already powered through going here from about 25,000 all the way up to past 31,000 in about a week or so. And so we've seen a huge move with Bitcoin. Right now, we need to see a little bit of a pullback in the Bitcoin price. That would be normal. That would be healthy. RSI level is at 68 on the daily, so it's still a little overbought. And what I would expect of Bitcoin in the near term is for it to come back down here to the support here at about 29,600 and then retest this level. Now, what's important to know about this is that if it can bounce off of this level, we have a chance of going back up here and retesting that 31,000 support or this 31,000 resistance and breaking through it. But if you go and you can actually take this support line and you can push it all the way back here to where it was here in April, you can see here that this was heavy resistance on the way down, and now if on the way up it becomes support, and so this should be a strong support level. I do expect that we're going to get a pullback to the support, and we shall see if it holds that level, but I do think we're going to get a pullback to this level. If it goes under that level, then we could see a pullback down here to probably about 29K, and then a resumption of the uptrend, because Bitcoin does not just go up completely straight. It has a number of pullbacks. Even on the most bullish charts that we've seen so far, we've seen a number of pullbacks before it reaches the next high, and so that's what I'm expecting is going to be happening for Bitcoin. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at our exchange reserve, we can see the exchange reserve over the past couple of days has remained relatively steady. Now, this is after a huge drop over the last month or so in which people have been racing to get their Bitcoin off of exchanges, which is always a good thing. That's what we want to see. We want to see people self-custody their Bitcoin. And the last couple of days, very low volume days, and we haven't seen very many Bitcoin leaving the exchanges. However, we have seen the price come down a little bit, and as I said before, it's sold out at about 31K or so. And one of the reasons for that is because of the miners. Now, miners, we have here in blue the miners reserve, the number of Bitcoins that are in miners wallets. What we're seeing here right now is that the miners reserve has reached a kind of an apex here at about the 31st of May, and it is kind of continued sideways and then started downtrending, and as soon as the price shoots up, we can see a huge drop in the miners reserve. So miners have been selling. Miners sold this whole rise up to 30K, and now they've kind of equalized a little bit as the Bitcoin price has stabilized. So we've seen miners selling. If we go ahead and take a look at the weekly, what we can see here is that we've seen a little bit of selling here from a miners reserve of about 1.8 million down to a miners reserve of a little bit under that, but still within that 1.8 million. And that little bit of selling pressure has kind of been holding the Bitcoin price down a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why we're starting to see the Bitcoin price kind of stabilize and go sideways. Miners have taken this opportunity to sell, and I don't expect that they're going to let up, especially as Bitcoin has crossed above that 30K threshold. There's going to be a lot of miners that are going to be selling. And if we take a look at our SOPR ratio, which gives us an idea of profitability, we can see here that as soon as it crosses price up here in black. As soon as it crosses that 30K line, we can see that the SOPR levels are showing us that people who are selling in profit. So those miners are going to continue selling in profit as long as they can, and they're going to most likely keep the price action to the upside a little bit more muted. Now, this selling pressure isn't going to last forever, and Bitcoin can definitely overcome that selling pressure, but for now, the momentum seems to have stalled, at least at about 31,000. Now, we had some really important news come out in the past couple of days, and that is that HSBC, the bank, HSBC Hong Kong, has launched support for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. Now, this is part of the reason we've seen that Bitcoin has shot up a little bit and Ethereum has shot up, because this has been a gateway basically to Asia and specifically China. And the idea here is that HSBC is launching these Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, and then more banks will follow. Okay, now this is really good news. This is really bullish news for Bitcoin. The fact that we're seeing other ETFs launched for Bitcoin increases the probability that a Bitcoin spot ETF will be approved in the US. Every single time we see this, this is something I like to highlight and say, well, that's one more thing that kind of adds to the bull case of the US finally approving a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, let's talk about what's going on with the search trends, and specifically what people are searching for on Google Trends here. So Google Trends is showing us an actual increase up here at about the June 21st or so. We're seeing an increase in search activity on Bitcoin, and this is related to that Bitcoin ETF listing here. If you go and you take a look at the related topics to Bitcoin, you'll notice the first topic here is BlackRock Investment Management Company and BlackRock the topic. Okay, so people right now are very interested in looking at Bitcoin and searching about Bitcoin because BlackRock was offering that ETF, or is trying to get that ETF approved by the SEC. And again, I think that's positive. I think that's a positive development. I think it's bullish that we see more adoption. Now, let's go ahead and talk about options. So if we go over here to the Deribit exchange, we can see that there are over, I would say, about $4.6 billion worth of Bitcoin options that are set to expire on the 30th of June, so Friday. Most of these are calls, some of these are puts, but we have $4.6 billion of Bitcoin options. Now, this by itself isn't unusual. We usually see at the end of the month, there are a number of Bitcoin options that are set to expire. And this, however, I think is notable because it is such a large number of options, mostly call options, right? So people who are bullish, they are set to expire on Friday. It's very possible that we're going to wind up seeing some extreme volatility throughout this week because of this and some of the events I'm going to mention here in a minute. And we add to that the max pain price of 26,000. And so what this means is that if you subscribe to the maximum pain theory, the derivatives market is going to try and get the Bitcoin price as close as possible to the maximum pain price. And so they're basically betting on it being at 26,000 by the end of the month. Now, I think that would be something I'd be very interested in buying, especially if we saw a capitulation to that level. I don't think we're actually going to get to that level, but if it did, that's something I'd be very interested in buying. But just know that it seems if you look at the options for this month, that traders are going to be they're basically incentivized to push the price lower here to about 26K, and that's something that we need to be watching out for this week. Now, some of the events that I want to talk about that's going on for this week, we had some events basically on Tuesday, the 27th, which is tomorrow. We have the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is going to be the pricing for new homes. There's going to be a consumer confidence as well tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we get the Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to be talking. That always winds up moving the market in one direction or another. Thursday, he's going to be talking again. So we have back-to-back days with him talking. Thursday, we also get GDP as well for Q1. This is really important. If this comes in and they have to revise it downwards, that's not going to be positive news for the market. The market will probably sell off on that. We also have initial jobless claims as well. And then on Friday, we have the PCE index as well with core PCE. Now, this is really important, again, for the personal consumption expenditures, because it's going to give us an idea if inflation's actually going down, or if it's stagnant, or if it's even going up. So look out for this. Look out for this number here. That's something I'll be talking about on my Twitter. If you guys are interested in that, be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information. I'll probably do a video on one of these days talking about the core PCE and what that means for inflation and what that means for the Fed and what that means for crypto. So I'll be covering that on Friday. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Just know that it's going to be a crazy week. We're going to wind up seeing a lot of volatility this week, in addition to the fact that we have Jerome Powell speaking. We also have a crazy high number of options expiring for Bitcoin on the 30th. So just be aware that there's some really important things going on this week. All right, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you think about options. Let me know what you think about Jerome Powell speaking and miners selling. I'm definitely very interested in hearing about that. This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.